boxing.
Okay, so 244.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
John's going to start.
Okay. Cool.
John?
Joe, congratulations on a pretty incredible performance this evening. First off, I'm sure you thought about this moment and had plans, but never in your mind could it have gone any better than it did tonight.
I couldn't have written it up any better. I mean, it went really, really smooth. We had a really good camp. I think in the past I've had fights where, I had bad cardio or I wasn't in shape or whatever, but a lot of times it's, injuries pop up and things happen in camp. And I hate to go and be that guy that, I hurt my back, I hurt this. So I keep my mouth shut. You never hear me say anything after I've lost a fight ever. I keep my mouth shut. I get back in the gym and we had a really good camp. Everything went smooth.
You've had a lot of great moments in your career, but it looked like there was maybe a little bit of emotion, when it came to an end there. So I guess can you talk about just what this moment meant to you and kind of what you were feeling in there?
Yeah, I was definitely crying a little bit. I was trying to keep it in as best I could. I try not to be like all that emotional about stuff. I try to be a little stoic, but I was feeling, even like walking out before the fight, like I was like just like looking around, like we had all the people in the green shirts, we printed up in my gym. I was feeling it. Like, it was like there's so much that went into this. It was more than usually you hear about, like, oh, it's been 8 or 10 weeks. Or it's been really, really hard. Literally since April of last year, I've been thinking about this. I was super unhappy with my last fight. And then since, like, November, I've literally been in fight camp since last November. Like, I've just been crushing it. Like, just, like, not complaining to anyone, just doing what I'm supposed to do. Just, silently going and just, like, torturing myself, just getting ready. And then it finally was here. So it was nice that it went so smooth.
And leading up to it, you're kind of non-committal on what your future would be. It sounded like in the immediate aftermath, you're still kind of non-committal about what your future will be. So I guess, how do you evaluate that? How do you make the decision? Is there a timeline? How do you decide if that was it or not?
It's a great way to end it if that's the end, for sure. But we'll kind of see how things go. Like I'm always going to be training. Whether it's, I'm cornering or helping out guys. We got a lot of guys that train in my gym now. Like Rob Font, Calvin Cater, Mike Rodriguez, Peter Barrett. We got a lot of guys that are always getting ready for fights. So I'm in the gym with them all the time anyways, So we'll kind of see what happens. I'm not like, oh, this is definitely the last fight, but I'm also not saying, oh, I'm definitely gonna do it again. Tonight was a great night, but I think too many guys kind of fall in the trap of like, oh, they have a good fight. Like, oh, I'm back. Here we go. Like, this is, it's like, I'm not there. But we'll take it and we'll see what happens. Maybe I fight in 6 months, maybe I fight in a year, maybe I'm done. Who knows? I'm not gonna commit to anything. I'll stay in the USADA pool. I don't mind. They come banging on my door every once in a while. No big deal. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Joe, over on your right.
Yep.
When we asked you in the lead up to this fight about your last performance in Boston, the Michael Johnson fight, you said, not really on my mind, but
yep.
Now that this one, you went out there and had this moment, does it mean anything to you to have erased those demons, that this was your moment in the Garden?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Every fight camp, I had my coaches going nuts. Like, my last sparring session was Saturday, and then the previous sparring session was like Tuesday or Wednesday. And like, I'm trying to work on new things during the sparring session, and they're like freaking out on me. Do the things you do well. So I'm like, we've been trying to work on all these new things. And like, nope, we want you to just go in and basically, we're too close to be working on new things. Like, get back in a fight. So like the first round, like I didn't necessarily win, and then the second and third I did great. And I was trying to work on new things. Like even though it was a week and a half out from a fight. For the Michael Johnson fight, we were trying to work on things. Like I have a bad habit sometimes of like shelling up and taking punches and not returning quick enough. So we tried to work a lot that camp about me moving my head a little bit more and counter punching a little faster. And I tried to do that. And I moved my head and I came right back into a left hand, So it's like, it just set us on a really bad, tone for the rest of the fight. So it's just like, I'm always trying to get better. Like it's, sometimes it seems like, you're kind of, you've plateaued a little bit, but I'm always trying to get better. It's just that sometimes things just don't go your way. So I think that was the big story with the Michael Johnson fight. So like, I wasn't worried that, I lost here last time. It's like, no, I tried something new and it didn't work out.
And on the undercard, it wasn't your fight, but Randy Costa went out there, got a big win. I'm sure you were watching from the back.
Yep.
What was that moment like for you as a coach?
It was awesome. Randy's been training us for so long. Usually I'm in Randy's corner. I manage Randy too. I coach him. I wear a lot of hats with Randy. And I'm a training partner, a little bit of role model, I think, sometimes just because I've been there so long. So for me, it's like, and traditionally we've never done well. We've had me and someone else on a card, we haven't done well. Like me and Joe Proctor both fought on the same card, we both lost. Me and Mike Rodriguez fought on the same card, we both lost. Me and my brother fought on the same card, we both lost. So I'm like, do we really want to fight in the same card as Randy? So for like 2 months, I've been trying to just completely care as little as possible at Randy's fight, which sounds a little bit harsh, but I could not. I was trying to not get super emotionally invested, because now it's okay, I've had this 14-month camp, 18-month camp, whatever it's been, and now if Randy, I can't go and let his fight dictate how I'm going to do in mine. I have to completely try to separate myself. So I try to stay as relaxed as I could about it, And if he won, I'll feel super happy. If he lost, I would have been bummed, but I had to try to keep it in check. But I'm super proud of Randy. He did a great job.
Joe, was that the loudest you ever heard a crowd cheer for you?
It gets pretty loud, yeah. It's awesome fighting in Boston. When I fought Gabe Rudiger the first time, I think it was I forget, UFC 108 or something. They went crazy too, because at one point I was behind him, I picked him up and I slammed him on his head, and it was pretty loud. But it was crazy here too. What was really stuck out was before, when they just announced me, it got loud a little bit. I raised my arm, it got even louder. I raised both my arms, it got even louder again. It was pretty awesome. It's great to fight at home.
Absolutely. Also, when the fight hit the ground, we know you love your submissions. Were you looking for that? Would that have made you happier, or were you just as happy winning with ground and pound?
I want whatever's going to end the fight fast. Yeah, whatever gets the ref to stop the fight, I'm 100% on board with. I like submissions, but I like ground and pound. I like TKOs. I like chokes. Whatever gets the fight over without me going to the hospital, I'm a big fan of. I got in on the body lock, we're on our feet, and I started taking him down. I tried to almost if you go back and watch it, I kind of jumped and I tried to land on his face with my shoulder a little bit, trying to knock him out on the takedown. And but then I landed him out, and he turned and made it was a good attempt, but I was ahead of him just a little bit, and I kind of forced him kind of on his belly a little bit. I had his arm stuck. And I could just hear my corner, Joe Pomfret's my coach. He's my partner at my gym. And his big advice is always don't lose position. It's whenever if you get in a good spot, you want to lean on people there. You don't want to let them off. You don't want to let them off. So don't lose position. So the entire corner just screaming, don't lose position. So I just stayed there and I started hitting him a couple shots, and it just made it worse and worse on himself.
It's kind of a strange position, but I think you did the right thing, because if he would have turned, you would have had a rear naked choke, I imagine. Was what
yeah, I don't know if I would have got a rear naked choke, but he was definitely stuck. He was stuck. I was on Reddit last week, and I was watching someone post a Ben Askren video of he fought someone in the UFC, some Russian, and he kind of got a similar position, and he kind of just circled around to the back and just was torturing the guy. So when I got in the position, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like that Ben Askren thing. So I just hung there. He just kept good jiu-jitsu.
Joe, all week long I spoke to all the fighters in New England, and I asked them the same question: what does Joe Lauzon mean to them? And every one of them couldn't praise you more. What does that mean to you to have that kind of respect from all your peers?
It's great. I try to always do things the right way. That's a big thing my dad always, talked about. And sometimes it seems like, I'm like, why are you spending so much time doing this thing that doesn't make any difference? It's something that's inconsequential. But I was like, you never know when it's gonna matter. And we've kind of tried to do that all the way since I was started doing jiu-jitsu. I try to, I'm always trying to be friendly with everyone. I try to always help everyone out. Always, try to, help out any possible way I can. I try to just, be that guy that, I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm trying to just help out everyone. And I want to see everyone do well. All of our guys, that anyone that trains with us, I want to see them do well. Even if they're not my guy, they train with us once in a while, whatever. I want to see them do well. Anyone in this area, I want them to do well. And I'm not looking for anything. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to help you out, but you're going to do something for me. And I don't want that. I literally want them just to do well. And by them doing well, they're gonna, I don't need to ask them to pay anything back. They're just gonna continue to help out everyone else. And I think it's just a good culture. I think it's just a good kind of one hand washing the other. And it just, I love to help out all of our guys that can help. And I think they're trying to pay it back a little bit. It's just really good group.
You went against a guy with nowhere near the amount of experience you have, the accomplishments you have in your hometown. But earlier this week, you spoke about how many people are doubting you. You even closed at almost a 2-1 underdog. What would you say to those doubters now that you show that, man, you still got it?
I understand exactly where they're coming from. I'm not screw you or whatever. I understand exactly what it is. I'm 35 years old. I've had a lot of fights in the UFC. Today was 27. I've been in the UFC since 2006. I've been around for a long time. I've had a lot of really quick fights like tonight, where I've had a lot of really long fights where I did not end up so well. I ended up in the hospital and everything else. So I understand exactly what they're saying. But I don't feel old. I mean, if you saw me in the gym, like I do great. We get all kinds of guys. Like I did my last sparring session with Rob Font. Who's top 7 or top 8 or something like that. One of the best in the world. Doing great. I did fine. I'm a little bigger than Rob, but very good competitive rounds. Like I feel good. I don't feel old. I don't feel used up too much, but I'm realistic about the fact that like there's an end to this. Father time catch up to everyone. Like I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I don't feel like I have to like throw it in their face like I told you. Feels good I guess a little bit to have a good fight, but it doesn't matter. I'm okay with it. I understand.
Dovetailing on a couple of the just recent questions.
Yep.
Early before you got the takedown, you were sitting in the pocket, exchanging pretty heavy for a second,
Yep.
a couple times. You did get tagged a few times. Do you think that time off really helped maybe your chin heal a bit because you had been in some wars, the Johnson fight, for example?
So I've never really felt like I had that bad of a chin until the Clay Guida fight. I fought Clay Guida, he hit me like one time, and I think at first I didn't know like it was like is this the end? He hit me, and I heard like you always hear people hear like ringing in their ears, and I always thought like, it would be like a dough ring. It sounded like someone was slamming pots and pans like as loud as they could, like right in both my ears when I fought Clay, and hit me with like a huge shot, hit me like right behind the ear, and hit me with a huge uppercut. So I was wondering, I'm like, is this it? Every time I get hit, is it gonna be like this? And then when I fought Gutzmacher, my last fight. He hit me a bunch of times, and honestly, I felt better about it after the fact. Like I got cut up pretty bad with a lot of elbows and a lot of little short, choppy shots. But I got tagged a few times, and I didn't go down right away. So I felt pretty good about it. I mean, I think having a little bit of time off, certainly helped. I don't think it hurt. But I never thought I had a bad chin per se. I've been hit pretty freaking hard, and I haven't gone down too much.
And on the latter side, you said you've been doing a whole lot of wearing a lot of hats, doing a lot of coaching for everybody. You're one of the OG gamers of mixed martial arts. Do you still find rooms for gaming?
I've been playing a lot of Borderlands the last month. I felt like for I don't know, like maybe like the 2 or 3 months prior, I hadn't like touched my Xbox. Like I hadn't been doing anything. But in the last month or so, just trying to just kind of relax and decompress a little bit. Like it's hard sometimes because you're so focused on like one fight or like one date. Like it's one thing. It's like you kind of need something to kind of de-stress a little bit and just get your mind off of it. Because otherwise, my mind is just racing 24/7. Like the second I wake up, I'm thinking about the fight. Until I go to bed, I'm thinking about the fight. Like so sometimes it's nice to kind of be able to just turn your brain off a little bit. But I'm playing a little Borderlands. It's been fun.
Hey Joe, I actually watched your fight with Tateki Matsuda in the stands because we wanted to make sure we felt the crowd.
Nice.
For you. Yeah,
love
it was awesome.
Tateki.
Yeah, but the kid in front of us turned around and he said, "I'm sorry, you guys. I'm standing the whole fight. I drove 1,500 miles from Missouri to see Joe Lozon fight."
That's awesome.
What does that mean to you to have that kind of impact on people as a kid? That you said at media day that you treat every fight as if it's your last, even your first UFC fight.
It's awesome. Like we have such awesome fans. So many people are crazy. I'm really fortunate. Like, I was talking before about, all these different people that train with us on Saturdays. I get people that drive like 2-3 hours to train with us every single Saturday. Like, it's like, we have like such a good group of guys, just dedicated. They come and they train because it's just good work. I think if you're in New England, you need to be training at my gym on Saturday mornings. Like, it's just, we have all the best guys around. It could be 10, 15 UFC guys there. Like, it's awesome. But same thing with fans. I think it's so awesome to kind of leave an impact. Like I wouldn't want to go and drive that far to go and watch anything. Like I wouldn't so that's really cool to hear that. I didn't know someone did that, but that's really cool.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Joe.
John, you good for this one?
Well, Greg, we thought we were going to be talking to you about your decision win this evening. Instead, we find out we're talking to you about your no contest. We just kind of got confirmation of it just moments before you came in. Can you tell me first, I guess, what your emotion is on finding out you didn't get a win tonight, you got a no contest?
Super sad.
When did you find out? We literally just saw an email, some tweets. How long have you known that the result's been overturned?
Oh, no. About 15, 20 minutes ago. I was in the locker room waiting for a while, dealing with the repercussions of fighting people for a living, and kind of just came down.
The inhaler you have, can you tell us what it is? Like what substance is or the prescription name? Or?
It's a Ventolin albuterol inhaler for exercise-induced asthma. I've had it my whole life.
Used it during your NFL career and all that?
YouTube or Google it.
And we saw the clip in between rounds, and that the inspector asked you, is this medical? And you said USADA approved. So I mean, had you and your camp taken steps with USADA or with the commission to make sure that it was okay that you use this?
It's on the commission paperwork when I weighed in. It's on the USADA paperwork when I take every single drug test so that y'all know that I'm not taking steroids and I'm just naturally a monster.
I know it's still fresh, and as you said, you're upset right now, but I mean, have you talked to your team yet about maybe taking steps to get it overturned again? I mean, could you potentially file with the commission to review the paperwork and maybe reinstate the win?
Man, I'm really just worried about, what my boss thinks. The worst part for me is here I am letting people down again, you know what I mean? It's a sucky feeling, dude. All I'm trying to do is do, like we just had a conversation before the fight, man. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I asked permission. He told me I could, and I'm in trouble again. My mind's on, man, just make sure everybody's pacified, happy, making sure everything's cool, because it's a crappy feeling, man. Everybody talking about my inhaler instead of watching that sweet rock hold or whatever, or Wyman knockout from my boy, and that's same as any other situation, man. I'm worried about my team. I'm worried about, and he was only in my red corner, My guy Daniel Jolly's back there, dude. Like nobody's talking about how good of a job he did. Dean Thomas, the first 15-minute rounds that I've ever done, I just fought more time than I've ever fought in my whole entire career. And we're sitting here talking about an inhaler that I've used my whole entire life. That's a crappy feeling, dude. I never want to take away from the UFC brand. I never want to take away from anybody. I think that's what's happening, and I'm not okay with that.
You said you care about the boss. Have you spoken with Dana yet? Have you had a chance to ask him, what his thoughts were and if he is, okay or understanding of your position?
I don't ever presume to think think I know what Dana White's thinking. I'm not on that level. I'm a worker. I'm supposed to do my job. I'm not sure if I did yet. So until that comes down, I'm gonna be the crowd's out. I'll let y'all know when I find out. I hope that he can forgive me or look over it and be happy with the show that I put on. And I hope everything in retrospect turns out to be this was one of the best shows Boston's ever seen. That's what I'm hoping for.
Last thing for me, Greg, as you said, the story, unfortunately, right now is this inhaler. But if you could separate yourself from that, can you just talk about how you felt going 15 minutes the first time and showing some, evolvement in your game, it looked like? Can you think back about just what happened during those 15 minutes and not this result, how you feel about the night?
Yeah, I feel good, man. It was a great fight for me. Ben is a monster, dude. He's going to be a problem for a lot of people in the future. He hits like a Mack truck. That's probably the most and the hardest I've ever been hit so far, So I think that tonight, just what I take out of it was this was a great process for me, I got to move around. I got to go through 15 minutes and experience and show a lot of people that, hey, we had a plan. We stuck to the plan. I'm an educated fighter, and I'm learning faster than anybody else in the business, and it's going to continue, just like I said. I think we accomplished that. So I'm super proud of that. I'm super proud of my team, and I'm just happy all around with the performance, man. I'm ready to watch the film and get better, fix these holes. I'm still a rookie, so more to fix, more to analyze.
Give us an idea of what some of those holes might be, if you would, that you think you could improve on. What do you think you could have done better tonight, and what do you strive to improve in future performances?
Well, number one, we got the best fans in the world, and this is the best show in the world. So I hate when people boo. I hate when people want action and I can't give it to them. So we're going to go analyze and figure out how to pick the pace up intelligently instead of going out there all wild. And definitely going to work on positioning, not getting hit as much because this is a heavyweight division. I'm only going to keep getting better opponents. I'm only going to keep moving up in the rank. So those those punches are going to get a little more devastating step by step, and just overall cleaning up the game, feet-wise and my education in the game.
Was there anything in there when you were out there that surprised you about his abilities?
Oh man, I expected a great opponent, man, and I got a great opponent, dude. He was actually more than I bargained for. He came out with no fear in his heart, for one, with all respect in his heart, and as a competitor, dude, that's what I live for. I live for those big games. I live for, since we're in New England, for playing Tom Brady. I live to play the best, the baddest men that have confidence in what they want to do and respect for the sport, and he had nothing but that, dude. So I feel like, man, the Prince of War went to war, and it was nothing but reward.
Hey, Greg, so you used it when you played football, but have you used the inhaler the other times you fought for the UFC?
I use it every single day. It's exercise-induced asthma, and I exercise every day.
So in the other fights you did use it?
I've never used it in a fight, which is why I asked permission.
Can you describe, does it help you breathe easier? How would you describe the effect it has on you once you...
You have complete control of your diaphragm and your lungs. They can expand and what's the opposite of expand? Contract normally. Mine do not. They inflame. It restricts the breathing and airflow. I'm sure a lot of people out here have kids with asthma. You can't leave them alone or they'll die. So it literally just helps the airway. It clears the airways so that I am able to breathe. It doesn't help me breathe better. Helps me breathe just like you. Pretty much evens the playing field. Shout out to Reyes, bro. Crazy. Boss. Love you guys. Thank y'all for having me.
The gate was 1.125 million. The attendance was 12,066. The fight of the night is Yair and Jeremy. The performance of the night went to Rosa and Reyes. They all won $50,000.
Dana, have to ask you about this Greg Hardy situation. I mean, we're just kind of finding out about it, just moments before he walked in. Can you just tell us from your perspective how the thing unfolded and what your thoughts are on it? Just a bizarre situation.
Yeah, it was crazy. So everybody started screaming at me, he used an inhaler, he used an inhaler. I'm like, couldn't even grasp what do you mean he used an inhaler? So when the fight was over, I went over to Dean Thomas and said, the fuck are you doing? How are you using an inhaler? And he said, the commissioner said we could. What commissioner? When? How? So then, my team started to jump into it and try to figure out what happened, what was going on.
Have you seen the clip in between? Like, he literally did ask the inspector, can I use it? And what's your take on that? Do you feel like he was justified?
I think if you watch it, you can understand how it happened. But, he asked the guy, and the guy says it's medically approved. He says it's USADA approved. Because he put it down on his sheet that he was using an inhaler, and they knew he used an inhaler, and, it's just It's crazy.
I think he was concerned that you would be upset with him. I mean, are you upset?
I mean, I don't even know what to say. First of all, Dean Thomas. I mean, come on, Dean. You've been in this game forever. You know what I mean? His corner. They got to know you can't use an inhaler in the corner. They should know that. Shouldn't even be a question. Yeah. You can drink water. It's pretty simple. And Gatorade in some states, I don't know, So.
Odd situation. Different story in the main event. Great finish, great night for Dominic Reyes. Give us your thoughts on his performance and kind of where he stands in the division right now.
Yeah, big win for him tonight, and we'll see what's next. If I had to, criticize tonight's card, which I think was awesome. Card was incredible. I just kicking myself in the ass. I wish we had put Stevens versus, Yair as the main event, and who didn't want to see 2 more rounds of that? So, and the other one is a co-main event, but it's never perfect, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Dom afterwards, he challenged John Jones, and it seems like, I mean, if he's not there, maybe it's Corey Anderson, Johnny Walker. I mean, do you feel like Dom's ready for John Jones, or do we see what happens at MSG before we make a decision?
Yeah, I mean, he looked good tonight. I mean, he's one of the top 5 guys in the world, and we'll see.
Last thing for me, Macy Barber has been on a fast track for a while, but I think it was kind of a breakout performance tonight. She's got that goal of being the youngest champion. She's got 2 years to do it. Where do you think she stands right now? And is she on a timetable that she could accomplish that?
She's a gangster, this girl. So I love about this girl. You see the crazy texts she sends me like all the time, including tonight. As soon as the fight was over, she started texting me, and she wants to fight everybody, and she wants to do this. And I told you I was going to do this. I love her attitude. I love how bad she wants to be a world champion. I love how she finishes fights. She fought a very tough girl tonight, and she stopped. It's incredible. She's fun, and it's going to be fun for us, all of us, and the fans to watch her grow over the next couple of years.
Dana in the front. On the flip side, Chris Wyman, he's now lost 5-6. Do you think it's time for him to retire? If not, do you think it's time for him to maybe face an unranked opponent?
What he said tonight didn't sound to me like he's considering retirement. So it's a conversation that he and I definitely need to have. And, this was his move up to light heavyweight, which obviously didn't go well for him. So maybe he goes back down to middleweight, or he, thinks about maybe retiring.
Change the subject. Whaley was in the building. We asked her, what's next? She's talking about Shevchenko, Joanna's option. They're talking about Rose.
Yeah.
What's next?
Love her too. I mean, she's such a little badass, and will fight anybody, wants to fight everybody, and it's between Rose and Joanna. I mean, I know that recently she just said, Joanna had said something about her not defending her belt, and she said, I think Joanna is a bully, and I don't like bully. I'd like to fight Joanna. And Rose, I know Rose wants to fight too. I just saw on Instagram that Rose was training, so get back into the office and figure out what's next for her.
Also this week, Colby Covington made some headlines. He said when he beats Kamaru Usman, he says no way he's letting you wrap the belt around him. If you do, he's going to smack you in the head with it. What's your comments on that?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. He's a big mouth fucking idiot.
Dana, as a Boston guy, do you have any thoughts about Joe Lozon and his future?
Me and Joe Lozon had a deal that he would retire after this fight, win, lose, or draw, and he didn't do it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're going to force him to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Manny Bermudez.
What better way to go out than tonight?
Yeah.
And he beat a real guy tonight. He beat a tough guy. That I bet a lot of people didn't think he was going to beat, and he made it look easy. And this is one of those things when you're talking to a guy who loves to fight like Joe Lozon loves to fight, and the Chuck Liddells and many, many more, in the past, that I've dealt with, it's so hard to walk away. Well, I looked great tonight, And then if they lose, well, I can't go out like this. Getting beat in my hometown in front of all my, it's just,
Another local guy, Manny Bermudez, when you lose twice and you missed weight on both occasions, does that compound the losses, in your opinion, as far as his future?
Say that again?
For Manny Bermudez to lose twice but have missed weight on both occasions as well, does that make it worse than if...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Dana, right here. We asked the fighters a lot, especially the Boston guys, what it meant for them to fight at the Garden. What is it like being the president of the UFC and coming back to the Garden for these events?
It's the commission kept coming up to me tonight and saying thanks, it's such a great event and all this stuff. When can you come back again? I'll come back here every weekend. I mean, I love this place. I love the people. I love this town. We have 44 fights a year. And, we're going to go to Paris, France next year and put on an event. We're going to go, we're going into all these other countries and doing all these things. We can only get here so many times, in like a 5-year, span. But I love this place. I love everything about this city, and we can't come here enough as far as I'm concerned.
Also, with the sport, there seems to be like a lot of negativity going around, but when you have a guy like Charles Rosa, who's been out for 30 months, to come back and have a performance like he had, submitting, a submission specialist, and Manny Bermudez, he came out here and said he's the baddest MFer in Boston. He's on a title hunt right now. What did you make of not only his comeback, proving the doctors wrong, but having the performance like he had tonight?
Yeah, listen, tonight was a really good night for Boston guys, Sometimes we'll go into a home, to whether it's in Brazil or wherever it might be, and the people from that, from that country have a rough night, or that's a rough night. It was all good for Boston tonight, man. It was a really good showing here tonight.
And then lastly for me, we had a lot of Contender Series guys making their debuts in the card. Brendan Allen had a great win. Sean Woodson beat a really gritty, tough Kyle Bokniak tonight. What did you think of the Contender Series guys tonight?
Yeah, that fight was awesome. Yeah, they look good. They look good. I agree with everything you just said, and yeah, I like it. I like seeing those guys do well, and they were in great fights too.
Hey, Dana, congratulations on the card tonight. One quick question. We had Calvin Kattar in the audience tonight, and obviously losing him on the card gave Stevens the opportunity to co-main event. What do you think about Calvin's entry into the UFC so far, and what do you think his future is, or his ceiling is?
I love the kid. He's tough as nails, looks better every time he comes out, and I love this too. If you look at it, his situation, tonight was his night. He's in Boston, in his hometown, gets to fight somebody like Zabit, and the fight falls out. Now he's got to leave Boston and go to Russia and fight in his home turf, and doesn't even flinch. Does it, ready to go, ready to roll. So I got a lot of respect for him, and yeah, the Zabit fight is obviously really, really big for him. It's a big fight for his career in that division. I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I did, but anybody else?
Dana, first, what do you feel to finally have this great fight between Jair and Jeremy? And what were your thoughts when you saw what happened with the crowd in Mexico City?
Ask me that question again.
How do you think about how you feel about finally having this fight between Jair and Jeremy? And what were your thoughts when you saw what happened with the crowd in Mexico City?
Yeah, I was excited for this fight. I was excited for this fight time and excited for this fight this time. Lorenzo Fertitta and I went to a fight in Tijuana, Mexico, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I don't even know. Maybe longer than that. I don't remember what it was, but it was in a bull ring. It was like an HBO fight. And it was between a Mexican and an American. And the Mexican fighter won the fight. And everybody started throwing their beer. I got soaked. Lorenzo was soaked. Everybody sitting down there, beers are flying into the ring, and their guy won. So I think it's a cultural thing. I think they like to throw beer around over there because I've had a couple of experiences with it. nobody got hurt, and these things happen.
People is thinking that the UFC might not want to come back anytime soon to UFC because of what happened.
No, I don't think that's. I think that's going to shake our fans at all. I think that nobody wasn't that big of a deal, and so these things happen sometimes.
The plan is still to break ground on the PI.
Oh hell yeah! No, we have the space, and we're moving forward. We're going to open that PI up, and as soon as that's done, I'm going to start looking for a place in Puerto Rico.
So just to clarify what happened with Hardy and the inhaler, last question on this, hopefully. You would say it's probably a confusion between his camp, what was allowed outside of a competition with the inhaler being ticked off on his form and being okayed, and them thinking, okay, I can do that in between rounds?
I have no clue what anybody who was involved in that situation was thinking, but it's, let me start here with, and I don't want to sound like I'm being negative on the commission, but these guys don't have a lot of big fight experience when we come into places that, aren't Vegas. You see it with different referees and judging and things like they don't have a fight experience. And I don't know what anybody was thinking. From Dean Thomas, the rest of the cornermen, Greg Hardy, the commissioner that was in the octagon with him, you can drink water. It's pretty simple. So I don't know. For me to speak on what anybody was thinking, we have it on video. We have it all on video and audio, the whole conversation. And it goes. You can't even have sugary drinks, for example. You can't even have sugary drinks. Yeah. You can drink water.
Dana, curious about Macy. Do you see any similarities? I know it's tough to always compare, but she looked great tonight. A young Ronda Rousey in her prime. Do you see any similarities there? Again, she looked fantastic tonight.
Yeah, she looked good. I mean, I don't know if I'd call her Ronda Rousey, but, if you look at a young Ronda Rousey, she was armbarring everybody. This girl put on a striking clinic tonight. I think Macy is Macy. She's somebody completely different, but I love her intensity. I love her attitude. I love that she wants to be a world champion before anybody else ever was. It's fun. She's fun to watch. She's fun to listen to. I posted an interview with her today, and if you sit and listen to the whole interview, she speaks really well. She's very smart, and I can't say enough good things about her. She's fun.
And I think you touched on this briefly. For Dominic, is it likely Dominic John? Do you think is the next? I
have no idea.
Too far.
I haven't even thought about it. It was mentioned in here tonight, but I haven't thought about it. We'll see when we get back to the office and start making fights again.
Speaking of another possible title challenger, there isn't anybody really jumping out as the next one to challenge the winner of Max Holloway versus Alex Volkanovski. Do you think you did enough tonight to earn a title shot? And if not, will it be the winner of Zabit and Calvin Kattar?
Say that again.
All right, I'll close it down.
So you guys all know that I don't match make the night of the fight, but everybody wants to ask me questions about what's next. Go ahead.
Did Yair do enough to earn a title shot after tonight?
Did Yair? No. I don't know. I can't even think about that. I have to think about. If you ever seen the War Room at the UFC, everything's written on the wall. We go through. There's a lot of things that go into picking who's next, timing and tons of different stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking about what's next, Dana, the BMF belt, has that been created and will that be defended after this fight?
It's being built right now. I'll actually have it the Thursday before the fight. I'll physically have it in my hands. And no, right here, right now, no, I don't think that belt would be defended.
A one-off.
It's a one-time. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. He said it. I was in a meeting one day with the guys, and I said, call me crazy, but what do you think about this? They loved it, so we did it.
It fits for that fight.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
Hey, Dana, two questions from me. Obviously, Yair Rodriguez, popular Mexican fighter. Another popular Mexican fighter in UFC history was Cain Velasquez, and recently, obviously, jumped to the WWE. He had a lot to say about you, and he praised you about the conversation that you guys had on the phone when he called you, said he was going to go over. What was that conversation like from your end, and what are your overall thoughts about him joining WWE?
Cain?
Yeah. Cain.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. You know, Cain's had some rough injuries, you know, that happened. The guy's been a professional athlete for a long time, collegiate athlete. You know, he's a super nice guy, and when it looks like it's the end of your career and you're looking at what to do next, it's always hard for these guys to figure out what's next. Where do I fit? What do I do? But when it rolls into some, you know, I was always like, how's Cain going to wrestle? He's having problems with his body in MMA. And then I saw him doing the Luber Libe, whatever they call it, wrestling with the mask on. I was like, God damn, he's pretty good. That's cool. And then when I got the call, I got a call from WWE looking for, I knew what they were thinking, and I was totally cool with it from the minute they called me and didn't even ask me. They just were looking for Cain. I figured that's what they were going to do because it completely makes sense. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his family, and I hope he does well like Ronda did and makes a lot of money, and, you know, and I hope the fans over there love him.
In a non-inhaler related Greg Hardy question, what were your thoughts on the performance? You know, he came out here and he said that he felt like he showed a lot of new facets of his game. He went the distance. Obviously, the fans, when they don't see finishes, sometimes they boo. Where did you fall on that spectrum of the fight itself?
Well, I think it's one of the things in this fight, too. If you look at physiques, Sassoli versus Greg Hardy, I think that fans look at the fight and say, oh, they're just giving this guy a layup, or Sassoli is not that guy. The matchmakers believed that Sassoli would clip Hardy in this fight and hurt him, and thought that this was a really big test for him. And, you know, this inhaler thing is crazy. He didn't need the inhaler. He was easily winning the fight. He didn't even look like he was winded sitting on the, you know, and it's just so crazy. But, you know, if you're somebody who knows how good Sassoli is and what he brings to the table, this was a big test for Hardy tonight. And he passed it until the third round in the corner. So we'll see what's next for him, and you know, take him up another step. Is that it? Yeah? Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Congratulations, very impressive victory for you tonight. I know you were confident going in and you're confident in your skills, but I mean, did you see playing out that, I want to say easily, as it did for you tonight?
The harder I trained, the easier the fight seemed to go for me. I didn't see it playing out that way, but I always knew it could play out that way. And I worked hard, and it ended up going to my favor.
You've had an impressive rise to the top, but it's funny. It's just, I feel like you've kind of been in the background a little bit, maybe under the radar. Do you feel like maybe that changed this week? I mean, being the main event, being on this big stage, getting a result like that. Do you feel, I know it's still soon afterwards, but have you gotten a feel that maybe that respect level is changing a little bit?
I do. I was my first main event, and I had fun. I had fun all week long. I had fun going out to the cage. I enjoyed myself the entire time. When I'm an old man, you know, I could talk to my grandkids about that time in Boston. You know, it was everything I could have ever imagined or dreamed of, and it all came to fruition better than any dream I've ever had about it. So I've had a lot of media on me. You know, I've had a lot of eyes on me this week, and hopefully people are relating with my story and who I am, and they could see my skill set now and appreciate it, and I started get my title shot.
How about to you personally, what did this mean? I mean, beating a former champion. Yes, I know he was coming up a division, but we've seen the great accomplishments that he's had and what he's done in his career. I mean, what did this personally mean to you? Did it prove anything to yourself, or did it reaffirm anything that you weren't sure about before tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it did reaffirm, I changed things up my last fight, Vulcan, and I went back home for this fight. And I got back with my team, my people, got back to my family, to the love, and it really paid off. I got back to Dominic Reyes, and it truly paid off. It meant a lot for me tonight, winning my very first main event, and I won by knockout in the first round. I mean, it was everything, and I'm so blessed, man. I'm just grateful.
Last thing for me, I mean, you were sitting here, so you heard Dana kind of non-committal. I mean, that's not atypical of a fight night. He doesn't like to match make. But what do you think? I mean, you called out John right there. I mean, do you feel like, hey, this isn't a debate, I am the rightful #1 contender, or do we need to wait till UFC 244 and see what happens there? I mean, how do you see the title picture, and do you feel like you're the clear-cut guy, or is there still a case to be made?
I do feel I'm the clear-cut guy. The only thing in my mind would be, John maybe to heavyweight. And if he wants to go up with heavyweight, then let's have an interim title, I don't know what Anthony Smith is doing, but I feel like that'd be a great fight for the interim belt. But honestly, I want to fight John. My whole career, I'm doing this to be the best in the world. I want to be the champion. I'm not here to just keep fighting guys. So I've beaten 2 title challengers, now a champion. Now there's another champion I want to beat. Like, natural progression. I'm number 4 in the world. The 2 guys ahead of me already got a shot, so I feel it's my turn.
What if Johnny Walker does a cartwheel off the cage and just knocks somebody out?
Good for him.
So you, over here in the middle, you said, I heard part of it in the post-fight, that you started seeing the opportunity to hit the punch that where he was coming in. What was it about the angle, or was he just lunging chin up? Can you go into more detail about that?
So I'm constantly analyzing him there. It's every time he moves, every time he breathes, I'm making adjustments. I'm analyzing everything he's doing. I'm tracking trajectories of my punches. And the way he was moving kind of was bringing his chin from here to here. And that little movement was lining up for me. I was like, okay, next time he moves a little bit, right there, I'm firing. I'm gonna fire. The first time I fired, he shot. I was like, okay, I'll defend this takedown, we'll break. He's gonna wear himself out. I was like, this, it was funny because when we were against the cage and I defended his takedown, I'm like, this guy's acting like Rockhold right now. He's like gonna burn himself out trying to take me down. It's not gonna work, buddy. And you're gonna just keep burning yourself. And we broke, and he moved again to that position, but this time he threw. And I was fading at the same time. And as I was fading, I saw it. It was like, it really was like throwing a softball to yourself and just hitting it. Like, it was perfect. It was so right down the middle. It looked like a freaking cantaloupe. And just, bow. Oh, it was beautiful.
Hey, Dom. There's been a lot of tough fighters that have sat up at a press conference like you, and they said, I'm going to be the next one to fight John Jones. I guess for people that maybe aren't convinced still, what is it about you? What would go differently? Like, what kind of performance would you put on that would be different than all these other guys against Jones?
I'd go out there and fight with all my heart. I'd fight with all my soul. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm not going to squander it. I'm gonna fight till the end. Like, I've worked my whole life for this. I'm not just going to go out there and not go for it. Like, I'm gonna go out there and go for it. I'm gonna do everything I can. I'm gonna be in his face. I got these hands. These people don't got hands like I got. I got precision. I'm throwing lasers. I'm not arcing and doing all this crazy stuff. It's precision. I could fire like that and knock you out. So, and I'm bringing all that. I'm bringing pressures. I'm pulling. I could strike going forward and backward. And I got heart, man, and I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping unless he puts me out. That's the only way I'm leaving that octagon not victorious, if he puts me out.
And John's not booked right now, but he's tweeted, seems like he wants a fight. Physically, how are you feeling right now about, do you think you could have a fight like this closer rather than later?
I don't know, man. That was a tough fight. Nah, I feel great. I have no injuries. There's nothing going on. Nothing. I'm good to go.
Dominic over here. Did Chris share any wisdom with you afterwards? Obviously, he's a former world champion. He kind of passed the torch to you in a way tonight. You had a fantastic performance. Did you and Chris converse in the cage after the fight at all?
No, man. I mean, when I would assume when you get knocked out, you don't really want to talk about giving advice to someone. You just kind of want to be left alone and be with your team and your family. All respect to Chris. He was a great champion. He was a formidable opponent, very strong, a little stronger than I expected. And he went out there and he put it all on the line, man. He went for it. Didn't work out for him, but he went for it. So, I respect the guy, man. He's a great man. He's a great human being, and I have nothing but respect for him.
And lastly, for me, what have these last 2 years or so been like for you? You take a fight with Joaquin Christensen on short notice, just days' notice. You have that performance, all the way up to main eventing in Boston. What have these last 2 years been like for you?
It's been a blast, man. I'm in the UFC. I'm living my dream. I'm traveling the world. I'm fighting in Boston in the main event. This is all the dream. Growing up as a kid, I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. I'm a professional athlete, and I'm one of the best in the world. And it's... Oh man, it's a heck of a ride, man. It's a heck of a ride, and I'm truly grateful for the UFC and Dana and everybody for giving me these opportunities, and can't wait to see what the future holds.
Hey Dom, over here in the back, right here.
James.
Hey, how's it going? Congratulations. Really impressive win, obviously. Chris Wyman, if you see when he's been finished, it's been later in the fight. You did it in the first round. Does part of this win kind of, is it more satisfying with the fact that so many people criticized you for that fight against Volkan and didn't really look at the circumstances heading into that fight?
And yesterday has nothing to do with today, in my mind. Today's today, and I handled the day. It was extremely satisfying to get a first-round knockout. That's really all there is to it.
And you talked about a potential fight with Anthony Smith if it was for a title. If John fights someone else at light heavyweight, would you be willing to still fight him just to keep active in case you're waiting on the sidelines for a while?
Well, there's no one else to fight him. I'm number 4. 2 and 3 already fought him. I'm next.
Who do you think wins that fight between Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker at 244?
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
Last question I have to ask, just because the style. Are you stealing some style here from the Schmo? You got the purple blazer like the Schmo does tonight.
I don't know, man. All week, me and the Schmoes seem to have matched. I don't know how that happened, but great minds think alike, I guess.
Over here, Dom, great fight. A couple of us ran into your folks after the weigh-ins yesterday. How important was it to you to have them here, and have they come to your fights before?
My parents come to all my fights, except for Chile. My mom couldn't make it because I couldn't afford to buy her a ticket. But it's everything, man. Having mom and dad there I have 2 of my brothers walking out with me. It's family is everything for me, and it gives me all my strength and all my power. That and God, and I'm invincible when I'm in there, when I'm with my people.
Yeah. They seem to have a really upbeat attitude and really happy and positive, and it seems like you have that as well. Looks like you come by that naturally.
Yeah, it's I was raised, where love conquers all, you get more with honey than you do with vinegar, When people will prod at you and mess with you to try to get you to feel like them, and just be happy. Let your positive attitude radiate out, and give other people a smile, because you don't know how their days are going.
Very wise words. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Dominic, back here. You talked about your precision, your speed, your accuracy, but you've talked a lot about your analytical work inside the octagon. Do you think that's what separates you from the rest of the light heavyweights in the division?
Well, I would like to say yes, but I don't know how everybody else's mind works. Me personally, I was an IT professional. I have a degree in information systems. I don't believe anybody else on the roster has. And it's extremely difficult to obtain. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done while playing football simultaneously. But yeah, it might be my analytical mind. I feel like a freaking robot in there. Like everything I'm doing, it's like I feel like Terminator, man. I'm like tracking, like like if this happens and this. It's like an if-then computer program constantly running. And once I dial in, it's like, ooh, buddy, you're done.
Dom, beautiful choice and style. Congratulations on the victory, putting Victorville on the map.
Yes, sir.
Now talk to me for a second. You were stuffing takedowns from Chris Wyman early on in the fight. Where did you credit your wrestling for this camp?
I credit to my brother, Danny Reyes, to Dan Henderson, Micah Johnson, Joe Stevenson, and my teammates over at Cobra Kai, Jim, Jonathan, as well as my guys at Team Quest, Sam Alvey. You guys might know this, but he's a pretty strong guy, and he's a decent wrestler. So I got some great people behind me helping me become the best version of me.
Where does the bad beef with Anthony Smith stem from?
I don't know. I think it's him he got overly sensitive about a Twitter tweet that I tweeted because I was ready to fight, and I saw that he posted a tweet about he was boxing or something like that. I was like, I thought you were hurt. Like, let's scrap, bro. What's good? And he was like, just started disrespecting, and you don't disrespect and just get away with it, so eventually we'll come across each other and we'll settle in the octagon.
And lastly, the boss man's, you were sitting right here, the boss man said he wanted the Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens to be the main card. He regretted that decision. He was non-committal to give you the title shot. We're going to assume that he's waiting for the winner of the Johnny Walker-Corey Anderson fight, maybe Lionheart Smith. What's your best case to be the one to get John Jones if he doesn't go to heavyweight and he's just waiting out for the best man?
First of all, Dana still loves me. I just knock people out, And I think he knew I was going to knock out Chris, and he wanted to see 2 more rounds of the little guys hitting each other. So that is what it is. But this is still my main event. I think it does say my name right there. And the best case scenario is I fight John in March, April. Corey and Johnny fight. They do their thing. If Johnny wins, then I don't know, maybe he fights someone else. That's only 3 for him or 4 for him. I have 6. Like 3 versus 6. And if Corey wins, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think that's what Dana's thinking. We'll figure out what happens. And but I'm the baddest dude right now.
Nice glasses.
No, I'm here in the front. Every superstar first moment where they just wowed over the crowd, the masses, and then suddenly they have all these fans and they get that star. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this moment today is that moment for you?
I do. My first main event, I got knocked out Chris Wyman, the Chris Wyman. That's a huge accomplishment. But we'll see, man. The internet's finicky. People are finicky. We'll see how it goes.
Well, speak of that, perfect lead to my next question. Obviously, with all the fans, also the higher profile you have, the more haters you're going to get.
Always.
You know what they're going to say? They're going to say, oh, yeah, he beat a middleweight, or he beat a guy that just lost out of 6. Wyman doesn't have a chin. He doesn't even hit that hard, blah, 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 blah. What do you say to those guys? I'm assuming Twitter's probably already got them. What do you say to those guys?
Haters going to hate, man. Haters going to hate.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.